Hey there, lady. My name is Molly Conley, and I'm devoted to helping women reinvent their love lives, whether that's after divorce, dating on and off the apps, or in their committed relationship. Why? Because I've been there. I'm a former college athlete who filed for divorce 3 years into marriage, swam in the online dating pool into my late 30s, and now I am married to the man of my spreadsheet dreams who I met 4 months before the world shut down. As a dating and relationship coach, I help my clients shift the focus from being obsessed with finding Mr. Right to shifting to herself as Miss Right Now. We build a foundation filled with clarity, connection, and confidence, knowing she is worth waiting for. Each week on the podcast, I'll bring you love life insights and savvy guests, where you will receive the courage to release programmed limiting beliefs. Discover patterns and behaviors restricting you from finding and attracting quality men, and ways to choose yourself first so you can build a foundation for a healthy relationship with yourself and a partner. Hey, lady, welcome back to the Reinventing the Arena podcast. If this is your first time joining, thank you for giving it a listen. I'm your host, Molly. By now, you've probably heard the saying, who you spend time with is who you become. Whether you heard this when you were a teenager, maybe in college, or even into your 30s, it's going to hit you differently depending on where you're at in your life. As a teenager, you might have thought your parents were crazy and they didn't know what they were talking about. And then in college, you might not have cared so much. You wanted to enjoy the college atmosphere and go with the flow. And as you experience change and transition in your life, you can see really who is supportive and who is dragging you down. In today's episode, it's all about resigning and designing your relationship board, kind of like creating your own board of directors. So, whether you like it or not, all relationships, parents, friends, family, coworkers, spouses, they're all going to end at some point. And each relationship is going to affect you in some way, depending on how much time you spend with them, maybe even how open and vulnerable you are with them, how much energy you put into the relationship, and more. So before we dive in, you can go to the show notes because I have a free download for you so you can start resigning and designing your own board of directors. You might even want to print it out and work through it when, maybe listening to podcasts a second time. Typically, when I work with clients on designing their board, they don't think much about it. They enter all the people they currently spend time with, and they seem so satisfied. And that's why I'm here. It's to challenge them. And if you have been a client or you're currently a client, you know what I mean. So if you've printed out that download I mentioned, you will see that I made you a tree with a variety of branches. You're going to want to fill out those areas with as many people you interact with on a regular basis. Now look at that list. How many of these people are you in a situationship with? Meaning, if you're a mom, are you finding yourself always hanging out with your kids' friends' mom? Is that a real relationship or a situationship? Are you friends with your neighbor because they live next door? Are you friends with your coworkers because you work on the same projects or on the same team? Are you friends with the ladies at the gym because you go to the same cycle class? Are you friends with someone because they went to the same high school or college? All of these are situationships. A situationship in this example is when you're placed in a situation and you join a group. Examples even include your classmates in grade school, your sport teammates, your sorority sisters, your coworkers, your significant others, your family friends, your neighbors, and so on. Basically, any relationship that's formed around a specific area of your life that you don't necessarily have control over. And these stay situationships until you can take it to the next level of friendship. But first, before we go any further into the friendship zone, we need to make sure that this situationship passes the itty bitty committee test. How often do they complain about anything? How often do you feel bad for them? How often do you say, "Oh, I hate that too"? If this Situationship consists of you mostly having to be the lifeguard at the pool, saving them because they always seem to be the victim of their boss being an egotistical asshole, their kids acting like selfish brats, the parents who are just too old to understand and maybe even talking shit about other people the two of you associate with. Then you, my friend, are in a situationship. Okay, yes, life happens and we all have to vent, ask someone their opinion, or even just ask for help. But you do not need to be with people dragging you down with their own shitstorm every time they see you or talk to you. And with that, it's time to resign from the itty bitty complaining titty committee. Yes, that's what I really call it, but I didn't want to give it away when I first said it. If you have written down some names on your tree, put some sort of marker next to those you might be in a situationship with. Now, look at the list of people that are left. These people are different for a reason. They have moved out of the situationship because more often than not, there are people you enjoy being around. They leave you feeling fulfilled, motivated, and overjoyed, or maybe relaxed, calm, and content. With that said, I'd like to tell you about what I call my board of confidence prereqs. There's 5. First, they have knowledge in areas that I don't, and they're receptive to explaining it to me or even teaching me something new. I'm a learner by nature, okay? Like, this is important for me. Second, they're bettering themselves in some way. Maybe it's their health, having the courage to travel solo, exploring a new hobby, or going to therapy. Whatever it is, there has to be growth going on. Third, this goes hand in hand with number 2, they have goals. Their actions speak louder than words, and they definitely follow through on what they set to do. Even if they fail, they take failures as an opportunity to learn. Next, this might be a no brainer, but we have similar hobbies. Not everything, but how about like a handful? This doesn't include after work happy hours, attending family gatherings, or sending memes back and forth on social media. It's more about the things that you enjoy doing, getting outdoors, playing with pets, cooking, traveling, reading. Maybe it's parasailing, whatever it is, similar hobbies that you enjoy doing. And lastly, number 5, another no brainer, but you can be yourself around them. You feel secure and safe being who you are. You don't have to fake it till you make it, and they feel the same. You can come up with your own prereqs as you work through that free download in the show notes, or use a few of mine as a guide. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Molly, this is great with evaluating my friendships, but I'm interested in romantic relationships. No worries, I totally got you covered here. Here's why you need to evaluate your board of directors for your romantic relationships. If you want to attract better, you have to be better, and that includes the people around you. When you take your other relationships to the next level, you will find and attract more romantic relationships that are aligned with who you are and where you want to be. Why do I say that? Because I had to do the exact same thing. Truth be told, if you want to be with someone who is passionate about living life to the fullest, they will not be laying on the couch, watching Netflix, or playing video games in all of their free time. If you want someone who cares about getting old with you, they're not going to skip the gym, eat like shit, or be addicted to anything that shortens their lifespan. If you want someone who brings stability, they won't be with someone who job hops every few months and, maybe spends his money on payday like the world is coming to an end. If you want to be with someone who makes you feel safe, they won't disappear out of nowhere to take care of something and gaslight you when you've asked where they've been or when you have concerns about their behavior. No, none of that. And hard truth, if any of these sound like the people you even associate yourself with, then it's time to evaluate what do you want in life and where do you want to be. Sorry, not sorry. Like I already said, I've lived this hard truth not only to find my husband, but to evaluate where my life was headed. So I know you can do this too, which is why I have that free guide. It's called Creating Your Board of Confidence for you in the show notes. If you want more personalized help with creating your board, we can work together over Voxer in my VIP Voxer days. Spots are limited and only available until the end of the month. Oh, and subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. Right now, they're weekly, but who knows? I might throw in a few sporadic ones. If you want more valuable content, follow me on Instagram at Reinventing the Arena. Okay, ladies, until next time. Okay, so it's no surprise, but I love sharing personal stories with you ladies, and this one includes a product. In 2021, I tried dry January for the first time, and it was tough. Fast forward to 2022, and I thought it was going to be easier, but it wasn't. I couldn't find anything, literally anything that tasted good to replace my favorite cocktail or glass of wine. So for months, I was still looking because I wanted something to replace the beverage whenever I wanted. Then Moment appeared, and I fell in love. It's a botanical water, either still or sparkling, with no artificial flavors, no caffeine, and no added sugar. Instead, they have refreshing fruit flavors, healthy botanicals, and adaptogens. Some of my favorite flavors are blueberry ginger, spiced mango, and blood orange. I always keep them on hand for those nights when I like to sip a cocktail or have a glass of wine, but rather not deal with any of those side effects of alcohol. You know what I'm talking about: the headache, the dehydration, the horrible night's sleep, the hangover, and whatever else may come your way. If you're looking for an alcoholic replacement for a dry January or just because, check out Moment. Here's some fun facts: 1% of all their sales goes to mental health nonprofits, and they were on Shark Tank. If you want to give them a try, use my promo code Reinventing the Arena at checkout for 15% off. The link is in the show notes.